Hello, my name is Weiston Can, and Miss Stevenson's class is doing a play called The Great Kapok Tree. Each student has a role of an animal that tries to convince a man not to chop down this great kapok tree so all living things can live.
This is The Great Kapok Tree, a tale of the Amazon rainforest by Lynn Cherry. Two men walked into the rainforest. Moments before, the rainforest had been alive, with sounds of squeaking birds and howling monkeys. Now all was quiet as the creatures watched the two men and wondered why they had come. The larger man stopped and pointed to a great kapok tree, then he left. The smaller man took the axe he carried and struck the trunk of the tree. Whack, whack, whack. The sounds of the blows rang through the forest. The wood of the tree was very hard. Chop, chop, chop. The man wiped off his sweat that ran down his face and neck. Whack, chop, whack, chop. Soon the man grew tired. He sat down to rest at the foot of the great kapok tree. Before he knew it, the heat and hum of the forest had lowered him to sleep. A boa constrictor lived in the great kapok tree. He slithered down its trunk to where the man was sleeping. He took at the gash the axe had made in the tree.
Senor, this tree is a tree of miracles. It is my home, where generations of my ancestors have lived. Do not chop it down.
Senor, my hive is in this kapok tree. I fly from flower to flower, collecting pollen. In this way, I pollinate tree to flower throughout the rainforest. All living things depend on one another. Senor, we have seen the ways of a man.
You chop down one tree, then come back for another and another. When the heavy rains come, the soil will be washed away and the rainforest will become a dry and hot desert.
Senor, you must not cut down this tree. We have flown over the rainforest and seen what happens once you begin to cut down the trees. Many people settle on this land. They set fires to clear the underbrush. Where there was once life and beauty, only black and smoldering ruins remain. Senor, a ruined rainforest means ruined lives. Many ruined lives.
You will leave many of us homeless if you chop down this great kapok tree.
Senor, the kapok tree is home to many birds and animals. If you chop it down, where will I find my dinner?
Senor, do you know what we humans and animals need in order to live? Oxygen. And Senor, do you know what trees produce? Oxygen. And if you cut down the forest trees, you'll destroy that gives us all life.
Samuel, you are chopping down this tree with no thought for the future. And surely you know what happens tomorrow depends upon what you do today. The brave man tells you to chop down a beautiful tree. He does not think of his own children who should live in a world without trees.
Senor, how much is beauty worth? Can you live without it? If you destroy the rainforest, on what would you feast your eyes?
Senor, when you awake, please look upon us all with new eyes.
The man woke up with a start. Before him stood the rainforest child, and all around him staring were the creatures who depend upon the Great Kapok Tree. What wondrous rare animals they were. The man looked about and saw the sun streaming through the canopy. Spots of bright lights glowed like jewels in the dark green forest. Strange and beautiful plants seemed to dangle in the air, suspended from the Great Kapok Tree. The man smelled the fragrant perfume of their flowers. He felt the steamy mist rising from the forest floor. But he heard no sound, for the creatures were all strangely silent. The man stood and picked up his axe. He swung back his arm as though to strike the tree. Suddenly he stopped. He turned and looked at the animals and the child. He hesitated. Then he dropped the axe and walked out of the rainforest.